Hey YouTubers, I'm far from here. Today we're going to talk about medicinal plants, edible plants, ethnobotany, and how it pertains to prepping. This is what I like to think of as my specialty, so I hope you guys enjoy. We'll also talk about the importance of books, and I'll show you just a couple of my prep items. I'm going to start doing videos about prepping. I don't know how many, but I'll start doing a couple, and I'll show you a couple preps. I'll talk about a topic, and yeah. So let's get into it. So first thing is you should always, if you're a prepper or an herbalist, this video can be for herbalists and preppers, ethnobotanists, whatever. You always need a guide like this. This is a Peterson field guide series. This is it's for my area, which is the eastern coast of the United States. This is medicinal plants and herbs. You can also find edible plants and herbs, which I also have. I don't have with me, but this is very, very important, and you really need to just get out there and try to use it, and don't eat any of the plants unless you go with let's say an expert who's done it before or something like that. And I always encourage people to get a guide and find an expert. I actually I took classes with an expert up in the Appalachian Mountains of Tennessee and that area, and yeah, so I learned with an expert in that area. But you could with YouTube, you know, there's people on YouTube such as Doug Elliott and Frank Cook and people like that. There's a guy named Green Dean, Eat the Weeds. If you type in Eat the Weeds, those are some great videos about how to forage for edible foods. And edible foods and edible medicinals, I think, would really save your ass and save a lot of other people's asses in a shit-hit-the-fan scenario. I think it's almost more important than storing food, because food inevitably will always eventually go bad. I mean, you can pump as many nasty preservatives in it and all that shit as you want to, and eventually it's gonna go bad and it's gonna taste like shit. If you know, when it's full of preservatives. So if you're able to go out into your area that you live in and find the medicinal and edible plants, then you know, which grow back every year if you don't overharvest, then you have a fresh supply coming in, and you can go out and take what you need. If you need a certain kind of medicinal, you can find that medicinal instead of having random things stockpiled that you think you're going to need. So I think, you know, and I'm not discouraging stockpiling stuff, medications. I think stockpiling, all that stuff is great, but being self-sufficient and knowing how to get it out of nature. I mean, obviously if you live in the United States, the Native Americans lived here before we did, and they lived just fine because they knew how to live off the land. And if you know how to live off the land, you don't need any preps. You know, maybe a gun and a knife and stuff like that, but if you know how to live off the land, if you know how to find the right food and the right plants, you can survive. And that ties into what we call ethnobotany. And ethnobotany is, I'll say ethnobotany is the study of the relationship between plants and people. Okay, but an ethnobotanical, which is what I was gonna refer to, is any plant which people use. So that's a good way to remember it. Ethno is people, botanical plants. So ethnobotanical, any plant that people use for any reason. I don't like to include ornamentals, but I think ornamentals probably are ethnobotanicals, unfortunately. I don't like ornamental plants very much. I like useful plants. So ethnobotanicals are any plant people use, but us preppers and herbalists and people like that, of course, are focusing on the most useful plants in the ethnobotany category. The book we have here is Ethnobotany: The Evolution of a Discipline, edited by Richard Evan Schultes and Thierry von Ries. And Richard Evan Schultes is known as the father of modern ethnobotany. You could read about him and his adventures in Wade Davis's One River, which is a book I read recently that was extremely good. And this book is it has different articles or essays in it by different authors, and it's compiled together, but they're all about ethnobotany. There's many of them by Richard Evan Schultes. But back on the topic, the point of knowing ethnobotanicals is because when shit hits the fan, you can take care of yourself. If you know which plants to use as firewood, which plants work best as firewood, which plants work best for making furniture, if you know which plants are medicines, which plants are foods, which plants are poisons. Poisons can be useless, right, Desardi? But you could figure all this stuff out, and you could learn this stuff, and then if you needed it, you could figure out exactly what you needed. It's right there in the outside. Okay, so I think I pretty much got my point across about why ethnobotany and herbalism is important to a prepper. Learn your ethnobotany, learn your herbalism, preppers, learn your wild plant identification. It is the most important thing, or one of the most important things, because there's literally, outside your door, in the forest, there's a pharmacy and a grocery store. You can find in the springtime, I feel confident that I could find all the food. There's 5 people that I would need to feed in my direct family. And I feel confident that if we went out there and foraged, and we had sufficient transportation and means to get to different places, we could certainly survive. And actually, we would probably move into a location that was heavily forested or had different locations for harvesting. That's what I would actually look for, is a place that was biodiverse, so that I could go and harvest all the different plants and medicinals that I know about to survive. Okay. My next point is going to be about books. Books are important, alright? Books are really, really important. Everyone likes their Kindles and their iPods and everything like that, but books are super important, because if an EMP goes off or whatever, your computer is not going to work. Your cell phone is not going to work. Your Kindle, whatever, is not going to work. Books will work. This knowledge is concrete. You could put these books on a shelf, and they'd probably stay there for 200 or 300 years and be okay if they didn't get any moisture or anything like that. So books are knowledge that you can reference and keep. I buy lots and lots of books, as many as I can, and I have a big bookshelf that I put them on. And they're all basically non-fiction books. They're all useful books. I have survival guides. I have all sorts of stuff like that. And books and books upon books about medicinal plants, how to make medicines, for example. Let me grab this other book really quick. You can make different medicines from different plants. This is a book called Wise Concoctions. It's an okay book. There are better ones out there, but it's a great beginner one. But it's Wise Concoctions, and you can make cough syrups. You can make everything from plants. That's the only reason pharmaceutical companies aren't interested in plants is because they can't patent them and make money off of them. But they are, evolutionarily speaking, they're much more related to us than these synthetic things, because at some point, plants and people were the same, back down the line, evolutionarily speaking. So plants are their compounds are more well adjusted to our physiology, and plants are just good medicine. And especially if shit hits the fan, the pharmaceuticals, are only going to last for so long before they run out. That'll be, probably 5-10 years, I'd imagine. Maybe not, I don't know, but plants are important, and books are important. So, okay, you need books. You stockpile books. Books are just as important. Knowledge is important. Preppers, think outside the box. Think about different things you need to keep. It's not just about guns and stuff like that. It's about knowledge, man. And I like the guys with the ham radios. I like the guys that think about communication. I like the guys that think outside the box about really reconstructing society. That's the point. I want to see a prepper community that's all about reconstructing society. It's about books, not bombs. It's about love, not hate. By the way, racist preppers, fuck you. Alright, glad we got that out of the way. But anyway, books, knowledge, preppers think. Alright, so I'll show you guys a couple of my preps now. This guy I made. It's a I simply found a stick in the woods and I chopped it down. It had a vine wrapped around it. That's why it's spirally like that. And I put leather. I wrapped leather around the handle. These are a bunch of little tacks that I actually nailed in by hand, each and every single one of them. And this could be a nice defensive weapon. It's intimidating. Of course, you would only want to use this in a shit hit the fan kind of scenario, or if someone actually came into your house and was trying to rob you or something like that. This is not a toy. This would hurt somebody very bad. So don't go, kids, if you see this, don't go make one and whack your friend with it. It could kill them. Okay, this is serious. So you could fuck somebody up with this thing. All right, so that's kind of cool. I keep that. I keep one behind my door. This is an interesting little guy right here. This is I don't know if you guys can see that. This is a Fox Labs. It's actually a Fox Labs pepper spray grenade. You press this button and it starts dispensing. I believe you could just press the button and spray the whole can straight at someone if you wanted to, like that. But it's you can press it and throw it into a room. You could press it and throw it outside your door if there was a crowd of people. A little pepper spray grenade, as they say. It's not a real grenade. It's not an explosive. It just has pepper spray in it. It would just make people run away. So this is great. If you don't believe in violence, if you don't want to kill people, if you don't want to, if you shoot someone unless you absolutely have to, get lots of pepper spray. Anything you can get like that. This is great. You could also actually grow peppers. Back to the herbalist thing. You could grow peppers. You could do a crude extraction of the capsaicin, the chemical. Extract that and make it into a paste and put it in a mister bottle. If you run out of pepper spray in a shit hit the fan scenario, I recommend growing the boot jolokia, the ghost peppers, to do that. So you could have it'd be very hot. So you get like an oily substance, and you may be able to boil them or soak them in oil and then mix it with water and spray it, or I don't know. But anyway, a little pepper spray grenade. That's kind of cool. And then let's see. Last thing I was going to show you guys real quick before I end the video. This is a K-bar kukri. I believe that's how you say it. I could be saying that wrong. Kukri or kukri. But it's a kind of a bent blade. It has the real cutting force is in that area right there, and it's a very nice zombie slaying tool there. That's some more of my home defense. I mostly have just melee weapons. I don't have any guns. I just have pepper spray and melee weapons. So maybe one day I'll get a gun, but I don't know. For hunting, maybe. Bow and arrow, sure. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Preppers and everyone, learn about wild plants, learn about wild medicinals, buy lots of books, and get prepared.